Hickory Lake figures to be a stiff challenge for the talented pros on the Walmart FLW Tour. Early spring conditions are tough. Cold water, nasty weather. But these pros always catch fish. See how next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in. Here does. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Charlie Evans, and today we're joining you from Gallatin, Tennessee. It's the third stop on the Walmart FLW Tour, and Charlie, it's amazing to think that at the conclusion of this tournament, we'll be halfway through our regular season.
Yeah, we'll have 3 tournaments down, 3 more to go. It's starting to get really tight for Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year. We've seen some guys emerge out of the pack to take a shot at being the top angler in the country. We're also seeing some guys down at the bottom, below 49th place, get extremely nervous. Only the top 48 will qualify for the year-end championship at Birmingham, Alabama.
And that year-end championship is very lucrative. $1.5 million on the line. $500,000 goes to the winner, so there is plenty for our anglers to be thinking about at this point in the season. All right, let's talk about what's happening today. We have 10 finalists on the water right now. At each of our regular season events, 200 pros take the water, all hoping to make the cut. Just the top 10 do so, and the final 2 days of each tournament, those finalists are fishing for the big money. At launch this morning, Charlie, the anglers had a little bit of nerves. They also had a lot of cold to deal with, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been.
Nerves, obviously, because yesterday, with the cold weather, the cold water, catches were down from what they were on day 1 and day 2. Hopefully today, with better weather, we'll see some huge stringers brought in today like we did on the first 2 days.
But it's kind of been that way, you know. It's kind of been good one day and bad the next, and so, you know, I'm looking forward to going chasing them again today.
As long as we can put our bites in the boat, I think we'll be all right. Just go out there and fish hard and see what happens today. I think they're going to bite today. I'm a little bit excited, if you can't tell. But 6-ton lead, that's pretty good. So I'm starting the day off with a kicker, so to speak. So we're out of here.
Charlie, this is where all of the FLW pros want to be. They want to be fishing on the final day for the big money.
Absolutely. The pressure, the intense pressure in the top 10 is absolutely unbelievable, especially on day 2 for those that are chasing our leader. They've got some ground to make up, and I'll tell you what, the nerves are tight at this time.
Well, let's take a look at the tension of day 1 and 2, the qualifying round here at Old Hickory.
Old Hickory. Day 1.
Nice.
The 2 most asked questions today: is it cold enough for you, and how do you plan to fish? Only one of those answers depends on who you ask.
We're going to just fish slow and try and get a couple bites. 1 or 2 keeper bites are going to go a long ways in this tournament.
I'm going to crank and crank and crank and crank, and hopefully I run into 5 bass.
The fish are going to be moving a little bit slower, but they're still there.
You know, these fish have seen everything, so I'm trying to catch fish that haven't seen some of the lures I'm going to throw at them.
Lee Bailey has the same idea as Cochran. He's throwing a rattle trap but fishing it slow like a jig. So far without success. Lee Skipper is throwing a spinnerbait he painted red and still looking. Rookie Ron Figueroa is having better luck, fishing a jig and landing one that goes almost 5 pounds. It would be Figueroa's only fish, and there are many bags like that. Lots of pros caught him, but only 28 have hard-earned limits.
I flipped every tree, I cranked every rock I could find, and managed to catch 6 keepers today.
Jerry Williams is 1 short of a limit, but still manages to end the day in 12th place.
I'm fishing underwater weeds. And yeah, you actually see the dark spots. These fish were real shallow. They were like foot and a half deep.
Michigan's Marcel Veenstra has the day's biggest sack, 23-9 on a jig and crankbait, including the Snickers Big Bass that goes 7 even.
Any idea you'd have that good a day?
No, not at all. I was hoping for 13 to 15 pounds. I figured if I were consistent, I get my 5 bites each day, it was a good chance I'd make the cut.
Right behind Veenstra, Castrol Pro Darrell Robertson, rookie Glenn Brown, and Rick Clunt.
Old Hickory. Day 2.
As the anglers take off behind me, they're proving just how relative cold can be. Forecasters had been calling for temperatures in the 20s with possibly some snow today. So when they woke up this morning and found temperatures only in the 30s and partly cloudy skies, put them in a better mood.
But I like cold weather. I like cold water fishing. They like crankbaits and jigs.
It could be a little bit warmer. I won't argue with that.
You know, you got to take your best shot and keep a cool head and stick with it.
Keeping a cool head might not be too hard today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool out here right now.
But an angler with fish is a lot warmer than an angler without. And one of the hottest anglers on tour is Pennsylvania's Dave Lefebre, protecting a top 10 showing on the first day.
I'm a little nervous about today. It's not as easy as what I thought it would be. And, you know, the fish are getting nickeled and dimed to death. There's, there's one guy's catching one or two in each cove, and then it makes it a little tough.
Nickels and dimes appropriately describe the fishing on day 2. A lot of anglers caught small fish. But Tennessee's Russ Moran had one of the rare 5-fish limits on day 2, though not on fish like this one. He went from 0 on day 1 to 16 pounds on day 2, finishing in 49th place. Only 19 pros turned in 5-fish limits, the toughest day on the tour this year. Greg Hackney didn't think the fishing was tough at all. The Yamaha Pro lit up the field with an eye-popping 26.5 pounds. A career day for an angler who stood in 122nd place after day 1 and made the cut in 6th place.
It really is. I mean, this is one of those things that happens every 100 years, I mean, I have these days sometimes practicing or just fun fishing, but to have one in a tournament like this, a big tournament like this, it's just really wonderful.
Another angler in the top 10, Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre, the same who told us he was nervous at the beginning of the day.
It's pretty neat because I have confidence. I know I can almost call my shots where I'm going to get bit. It's like I've been fishing here all my life, and this is only my second time. So I'm just so excited to get to the top 10 because I knew going into this, if I could get to the top 10, I had a serious shot to win. So I'm fired up.
Coming out of that qualifying round, nobody was better than Glenn Brown. He's a rookie on the FLW Tour, but he's making some headlines this year.
I'll tell you what, Glenn Brown did a fantastic job. He started in the BFLs, excelled there, qualified to move up to the Everstarts, dominated the Everstart Eastern Division, and qualified for the Walmart FLW Tour. Now here in his first season, if he finishes at least 7th place, will be our Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year leader.
And that's an amazing story for the rookie from Florida. So we decided to get a little bit closer, find out what's going on in that rookie mind of his. We put BF Goodrich pro Scott Martin on him yesterday in the first day of the final round on the water. Let's hear what they had to say.
Well, right now we're about 45 minutes upriver from the takeoff. We're in a Clearwater Creek with tournament leader Glenn Brown. Glenn, tell me a little bit about what you're doing in here.
I've been flipping these. It's kind of it's a real deep creek. The boat sits in anywhere from about 15 to 20 feet of water. And I've been catching the majority of my fish off the corners. It's got real high banks in some of these corners, and it drops off really steep.
Now, when you found this spot in practice, was there a lot of other tournament anglers in the area?
No, I came up here Tuesday about 11 o'clock, last day of practice. I really didn't have a good practice. I caught a few fish. I was going to be just running around and fishing pockets, shallow pockets, like a lot of the other guys in the tournament were doing. That's what I had planned on doing up until I came in here. And I pulled in here and I had 5 bites in like an hour and a half.
Well, that's important, establishing a pattern like you have. I mean, to find the fish holding on the corners, I mean, there's so much water in here to fish, inside bends, outside bends. It looks like you're concentrating on the outside bends and fishing the deep side of this creek, and you figured out the corners, and that's the difference between you and the finals and a lot of other guys going home right now.
Well, I hope I can just keep catching them. I got 2, and we need 3 more today, and I know there's some real good quality fish in here.
This tournament's in March, mid-March. The spawn's right around the corner. And the key to Glenn's success in this tournament is clear water. All week we had lots of rain. The river was at flood stage. A lot of little creeks and bays got tremendously muddy, and it made it a tough bite. Glenn here has found clear water, and he's concentrating on the steep banks, and that's a great pattern this time of year with the water temperatures 47 to 50 degrees. These fish are going to be relating to the wood along this flooded shoreline, and they're going to be feeding on crayfish. His plan of attack is pitching a tube or a jig into the shady sides of these trees, drawing a reaction strike on these fish.
That was Glenn Brown yesterday. Today, he's back in the same spot, Goose Creek, about a 40-minute run up the Cumberland River from launch. And water clarity has been the key for Brown in here. Now, he just missed a fish minutes ago, and he does not need to do that in this event. He's got more than 6 pounds to overcome to catch Dave Lefebre. We'll hear from Glenn Brown, who's been the top rookie on tour by far this year, a bit later in the show. Carlton and Charlie, back to you.
In the next hour on FLW Outdoors, we're going to take you out on the water with the finalists as they fish.
Put you right in the boat with them. Matter of fact, we'll try to put you right in the mine with them to see what they're doing while they're competing for $100,000.
And then a little bit later on the show, they will take the stage behind us. We're getting ready for them in the shootout style weigh-in, which will crown a winner $100,000 on the line. And coming up on FLW Outdoors, our own Larry Nixon interviews our leader, Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre.
It's not going to last very long, but even when it breaks, I can still reel a fish in on it. It's not going to fall completely apart. It just won't work properly. But
welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We're joining you from Gallatin, Tennessee. This is the third stop on the FLW Tour. Our 10 finalists are on the water right now, and let's take a closer look at this very talented field of anglers. We'll start off with Gonzales, Louisiana's Greg Hackney. Now, Greg has ridden the roller coaster. Day 1 in 122nd place. Day 2 in 6th place. And then day 3, he fell to the bottom of the heap, but he has proven that he can do it. Also in 9th place from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, Tracy Adams. In 8th place is Morizo Shimizu from Osaka, Japan. Also in 7th place from Ava, Missouri, Rick Klund. In 6th place from Phoenix, Arizona is John Murray. In the top 5, Marcel Veenstra is out of Brighton, Michigan. Also in 4th place, Dion Hibden out of Stover, Missouri. In 3rd, Mickey Bruce from Buford, Georgia. Glenn Brown is in just his rookie season. He's already in a top 10 and is in position to take the lead in the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race. And our leader heading into this final day of the final round is Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre, and he is way out in front with a stringer of 15 pounds and 2 ounces. That's a good head start for day 4. Charlie, we talked about how much Dion Hibden loves this lake. He came back in 2002 to make the top 10. He's back in the top 10 once again. He is way upriver and fishing a jig. Dion joins us right now on the line. Dion, how's it going so far today?
I've got one. I'm in probably my favorite spot on the whole lake. This is actually the spot where I made it the last time we were here to the top 10. And I didn't fish it very hard in the tournament, and I came up here. I thought, well, if there's some big ones left, I'll be able to get them to bite out of here. And I've got one real good one so far, so maybe I can pluck another one or two out of here.
And fish this time of year, Dion, start moving toward their spawning grounds.
Oh yeah, they're kind of like us. They're cold. They're seeking that sunlight, so they come up shallow when it gets sunny like this.
Dion, you're a little over 10 pounds off the pace right now. Do you feel like you're in a spot or on a pattern that can produce that?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that I've caught 2 or 3 big ones every day I fished, except yesterday. So yeah, I've got the capabilities, whacking one of them 20-pound stringers. To say that'll do it, then Dave has to kind of falter a little bit. But as you've seen through the weigh-ins this week, that's happened a lot to a lot of guys. One day you catch them, one day you don't.
All right, that's Stover, Missouri's Dion Hibden. He is currently in 4th place, just over 10 pounds off the lead. And Charlie, he talked about that feast or famine, and we have certainly seen great evidence of that this week.
Absolutely, particularly Greg Hackney, case in point, 3 pounds on day 1, the huge 26-pound stringer on day 2. So that certainly can happen. Could happen to Dave Lefebre, then it could happen the other way to Dion. Really, this tournament's wide open for everybody.
And one of the anglers who has proven that big stringers are always possible on Old Hickory is the rookie from Ocala, Florida, Glenn Brown. Taylor Carr is with our rookie right now.
We've run about 40 miles up the Cumberland River. This is Goose Creek, and in the Snickers boat, rookie Glenn Brown. A little bit more than 6 pounds off lead, and Glenn, you found yourself a good place away from all the other anglers.
Yeah, I really did. I was real fortunate. I found this actually in the last couple hours of my practice. And I was just riding around my last day of practice, just trying to think of something a little bit different. And I ended up riding up here, and right when I rode into the mouth, I mean, it went from kind of a real dark brown water to this clear blue water. I said, wow, look at this. but it's just a pretty creek. You know, the water really got muddy when we had all that rain, and this really did make a big difference, I think, in how I caught my fish.
Rookie Glenn Brown right now in second place, but regardless, Carlton, he's had a great start to 2004.
Charlie, during the practice period, a lot of the anglers were worried about even catching a fish. They were worried about not zeroing. And then all of a sudden on day one, Michigan's Marcel Veenstra blows away the field, 23-9, and he also blew away a lot of excuses that some of these other anglers had. Marcel joins us now on the line. Marcel, you're fishing upriver. Are things going well for you so far today?
Well, so far today I got 2 fish. I got a 4-pounder and one probably about 2.5 pounds. So I have about 6.5 pounds. I'm hoping as the water warms up, maybe I could catch a few more good ones today. So we'll see what happens.
Marcel, talk a little bit about your area and what it is that makes that area so special that's held those fish for you this week.
Well, what I think is happening is we're near some deeper water, and there's a couple of really good spawning bays in this area. And I think these fish are waiting to move up shallow to these spawning bays. Right now, I just believe a lot of them are coming up feeding because the water temperature's been between 49 and 51 degrees for me, maybe 52 in the late afternoons. So I think the key right now is that we're around deeper water and it's very close to the shallow water. And I'm just throwing a 1/2 ounce rattle trap right now, and I'm just waiting for these fish, trying to hit one here and one there. I'm not getting a lot of strikes.
Marcel, it sounds like you're going about it in a very business-like manner. Don't seem to be nervous at all for your first top 10 appearance.
There's nothing to be nervous about. It's a 10-boat club tournament to me today. I'm just going out here. If I give it 100%, I don't have to worry about what the other guys do. I just got to worry about what I put in the bag. If you don't bring in the fish, you can't win the tournament. So I got to do my end right here.
All right, that's Marcel Veenstra. Thanks for talking with us. Best of luck to you. We'll see you out on the weigh-in stage.
Okay, guys. Hopefully I can bring in a big limit for you guys.
All righty. Marcel had 2 keepers yesterday in the first day of the final round. He's got 2 so far today. He's got a few hours to see if he can add to that and try to pull in those big fish and move him up and put a little pressure on Dave Lefebre like everybody's trying to do.
Absolutely. Dave's got that lead. But again, those 20-pound stringers can happen. And also guys that had 20-pound stringers cannot catch them the next day too.
All right, well, coming up on FLW Outdoors, our own Larry Nixon will interview the man with all the pressure, and he's also got that huge lead, Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre. It's all coming up next on FLW Outdoors. One of the top names in professional fishing is Ava, Missouri's Rick Clunn. He is always hunting that top 10, and he has found it more often than any FLW pro ever. This is his 19th FLW top 10, and Rick Clunn joins us on the water right now. Rick, talk a little bit about your pattern today and what has worked so well for you this week.
Well, the first day of practice, I got on the end of the bluffs in these creeks, and I caught probably a 20-plus pound bag. I only had that one day of practice, so I had to kind of stick with that. And the first day of the tournament, I had almost 19 pounds off that pattern, basically working crankbaits along those bluffs.
Rick, this time of year, it seems like every day the fish are moving and changing.
Yeah, that's just the nature of this time of year. You can't be any place this time of year over 4 to 6 days. You're not going to get 1 to 3 weather changes, and those all affect the fish, especially this one that had a lot of rain, which you had a lot of high water. It probably helped me because it disrupted a lot of the guys' patterns. Had been here for several days, and I only had one day of practice, and I kind of go in here and just started the day under the conditions the lake was, and that was muddy and dropping. And so it probably helped me that we had some disruption.
All right, thanks a lot, Rick Clunn, for joining us. Best of luck to you on the water today, and we'll see you in just a little bit on the weigh-in stage.
Thank you.
All right, just like a master thespian, he is putting on a great performance today. Rick Clunn in yet another top 10.
I'll tell you what, he is amazing. So the way he can adapt, the way he can think to different conditions, different lakes, different varieties, different techniques, he is indeed a master.
All righty, let's go from one legend to another. Our own Larry Nixon is with the legend of this tournament, Kellogg's pro, Dave Lefebre.
Right now I'm with our tournament leader, Dave Lefebre, and we're way up the river. And hey, Dave, if you would talk to me just a little bit on how you've had such good success this week.
Well, I've only been here once before. Spent about 4 days here in November. Did fairly well in the Everstart Championship. I finished 3rd. I figure pretty much bass are going to be doing about the same thing in the fall as they are in the spring. So I basically came down thinking, I'm going to check some of the stuff I was fishing in that tournament, and you know, go from there just to see if everything was still kind of the same. And
now, does a lot of fish come from this area right here in this event?
Yeah, it turns out there have been. I mean, Marcel Veenstra was leading after day one. He caught 3 of his big ones in here.
Yesterday, did you catch any of your keepers right here through this grass bed?
The first 2 days I caught 3 each day that weighed about 10, 11 pounds. And yesterday I only caught 1. But yesterday was a tough day. I don't know what happened yesterday. They weren't, for some reason, they weren't biting.
Now, if they don't bite your crankbait, you got a jig pattern to fall back on? Is that your secondary plan?
Yeah, I every day after I leave here, I start flipping, and I have all day to catch 2 more. You know, I've been catching 3 and leaving. I really think I could catch 5 in here if I stayed.
Well, there you have it. He's fishing mainly grass, throwing a crankbait, fishing it real erratic, popping it through that grass, and a lot of them are hitting it when he's stopping it. Unfortunately, some of them he misses, but he's also got a backup pattern. He's using a jig and pitching some rocky banks and probably some wood laydowns.
Charlie, what an amazing tournament Greg Hackney has had. He started off on day 1 with just around 3 pounds. He was in 122nd place. Could have packed it in or just fished for a check. Instead, he lit it up on day 2 with an amazing catch of 26.5 pounds. Anglers didn't know that it was possible on Old Hickory, but he proved it.
The largest stringer of the tournament so far, and he's going to need another stringer like that today if he's going to overtake Dave Lefebre.
That's right. Greg Hackney is currently in 10th place. He has proven he can catch the big stringer. He is on the water right now. And Greg, you already got 1 in the boat. Do you think 4 more big ones are coming?
I really hope so. I'm just kind of changing around today. Yesterday, I went back to that same area where I caught that big stringer, and I went in there off and on all day, and they never pulled up, or I actually feel like I probably caught too many. And that really made the difference that second day. I went back to a little lighter weight on my jig and changed the color just a little bit because the water had cleared up some from practice.
You said that you could tell by the way they're biting you didn't have the right thing. Explain that to us, please.
They're hitting real hard, but they're not hitting in like a feeding mode. In a feeding mode, you know, you'll hook them in the mouth, and I'm not hooking these fish in the mouth. They're hooking up outside the head, and that's the reason I couldn't catch them. They were more hitting out of aggression, you know, not because they're hungry, but just because they don't want that bait in their space.
Greg, when you made that change in color on your jig from day 1 to day 2, you said the water cleared up. Did you change from maybe a black blue to more of a natural color?
Yeah, actually, that's what I'd done. I had them in practice on just a standard black and blue jig because I was fishing the dirtier water, and I went to more of a brim pattern.
All righty. Well, Greg Hackney, good luck to you. Thanks for talking with us, and we'll see you on the weigh-in stage and see if you can bring it on home in the final round.
We're going to swing at them till the end.
All righty. That's Greg Hackney from Gonzales, Louisiana. A lot of experience in both Louisiana and Arkansas fishing, and see if he can bring in another 34-pound stringer.
I'm telling you, he can catch big stringers, and again, anything can happen in this event.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it is almost showtime on the big stage. Our anglers in just a few hours will be wrapping up their final round. When we come back on FLW Outdoors, we'll be on the stage with our 10 finalists. $100,000 up for grabs for one of our 10. We'll see what happens when the exciting shootout-style weigh-in starts next on FLW Outdoors.
Biggin. All right.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Finally. I've done that so much.
And finally gonna catch another one of them.
Woo! Beginning to wonder if I can still do that.
That last one was what was supposed to happen, where it was supposed to happen. I enjoyed it. You know, I had a big time today. I mean, anytime, whether it's the first day, the last day, whenever, I enjoy it. I'm fixing to take tomorrow off and then do it again starting Monday.
I don't think I would do anything differently, but I am curious to know if I would have just, thrown the jig at some of the wood a little bit more often, if that would have triggered a few more bigger bites maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, I think we just needed a couple more hours, really. I think the fish are just starting to move back up. The wind's switching around to the southeast. Getting a little humidity in the air. And they're starting to bite. I mean, I saw that. I had 4 decent bites, but I needed all 4 of them to even do well.
Gallatin, Tennessee. Here are your 10 finalists in the third event on the FLW Tour. In 10th place from Gonzales, Louisiana, Greg Hackney. In 9th place from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, Tracy Adams. In 8th place from Osaka, Japan, Morizo Shimizu. In 7th place from Ava, Missouri, Rick Klun. In 6th place from Phoenix, Arizona, John Murray. Our next finalist helped prove the potential of big stringers on this lake by turning in the best stringer of day one at 23 pounds 9 ounces. In 5th place from Brighton, Michigan, Marcel Veenstra. Big-time fishing is no stranger to our next finalist, who is already a world champion and hails from one of the great families of fishing. In 4th place from Stover, Missouri, Dion Hibden. Our next finalist used a strong performance on day 2 to earn a slot in his 5th FLW Top 10. In 3rd place, 8 pounds, 2 ounces off the lead, from Buford, Georgia, Mickey Bruce. It's been quite a rookie season for our next finalist, who could take over the lead in the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race with a finish of 7th place or higher today. In 2nd place, 6 pounds, 4 ounces off the lead, from Ocala, Florida, Glenn Brown. Our final finalist is the only angler to catch a 5-fish limit yesterday. Currently your leader, with a total weight of 15 pounds, 2 ounces, from Erie, Pennsylvania, Kellogg's Pro Dave Lefebre. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are, your 10 finalists here on Old Hickory Lake. We will work through our field of finalists as the exciting shootout-style weigh-in begins next on FLW Outdoors.
And welcome back, everyone, to FLW Outdoors. We're in Gallatin, Tennessee on the big money $6.2 million FLW Tour, and a lot of money on the line today. The weigh-in is underway, and 4 anglers are already gone, starting with Greg Hackney. He had that great day on day 2, came back from 122nd place. Greg couldn't get it done today. He is out. Also, Tracy Adams is weighed out. He's from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, his 9th year on the tour, but today Tracy didn't get it done. Followed by Rick Klun, making his 19th appearance in the top 10. Rick Klun didn't weigh enough fish today. He is also out. And John Murray from Phoenix in his first top 10. He did not get it done as well. So 4 anglers are gone. On the leaderboard now, it's Morizo Shimizu. And Shimizu has 15 pounds, 12 ounces. The rest of the 7-Up leaderboard, Dave Lefebre with 15.2. He was our leader following yesterday's action. And then Greg Hackney, Rick Klun, and John Murray, who have all weighed out. On the second page, it's Glenn Brown with 8 pounds, 14 ounces, Tracy Adams, who is weighed out, and then Mickey Bruce, Dion Hibson, and Marcel Veenstra rounding out the top 10. Back on stage now to Carlton Wing.
All right, thanks, Taylor. We have gone through half of our final field. Let's bring up our leader from day 1, Marcel Veenstra from Michigan. Marcel lit it up and helped dispel the myth that it was hard to catch fish out there. 23.9 on day 1. Right now, he needs to bring up 12 pounds, 12 ounces to take the lead.
Huge stringer on day 1. They said over 23 pounds. Fishing out of the banana boat out there. Powered by Yamaha. Needs 12 pounds, a little over 12 pounds to take the lead. That's a beautiful fish there. And the limit is 5. That's 3.
That's it.
That's it. 3 fish for Marcel. Total weight here, 8 pounds, 1 ounce, 8-1. Decent day, but not what you were hoping for.
No, it wasn't what I was hoping for, but overall the tournament was a good tournament. I had a really great time. I had a great bag on day 1, and I got a chance to work hard and fish against some of the best, so I had an outstanding time here. It was really fun.
Tell us about your pattern and your location, Marcel.
Basically, I was just throwing a rattle trap, about a half-ounce rattle trap in some really shallow water, 0 to 3 feet. Most of my fish came from, and that's what I worked all day. I was just looking for some fish that were moving up onto some of these shallow flats, and the first day they seemed to come up really well, and they just seemed to get smaller as time went on. I think we depleted the stock there in some of them creeks.
Well, you do certainly getting used to professional fishing big time. Did a great job. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Marcel Veenstra.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we are halfway through our field of finalists. 5 have weighed out, 5 still remain, and Morozo Shimizu is still out on top. Let's see if he can stay that way after Dion Hibden.
Dion Hibden has caught him on day 1 and 2 very consistently yesterday. Again, his toughest day at 4 pounds, 9 ounces.
Charlie, we're looking for 11 pounds and 4 ounces out of Dion.
11-4. 11 pounds, 4 ounces. We'll put him in the lead. Here comes fish number 3. Dion's already won along the Walmart FLW Tour, won one of our championships on the Red River out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Also, classic champion along with his father, Guido Hibden. How much do you need, right? This should do it. We will have a new leader here. Dion Hibden, 5 fish here, all alive, total weight 13 pounds, 15 ounces, a new leader. Great job, Dion.
Okay, our new weight to beat, 18 pounds, 8 ounces. Mickey Bruce is coming up next. Mickey must bring up 11 pounds and 8 ounces, 11.5 pounds to be able to take the lead from Dion.
Dion has weighed his complete limit in, so if Mickey beats him, he will be eliminated. There is fish number 1. And Mickey had 7 pounds yesterday. He says they're in great shape coming out of that Ranger live well. Mickey fished out of the Chick Quattro boat today. Beautiful boat. Looks like it's got holes down the side. Just beautiful coloring on it. Only 2 today for Mickey Bruce. 2 fish that weigh 3 pounds, 4 ounces. You swung for the fences today.
All in all, I can't complain a bit. I accomplished 2 of the 3 goals that I needed to get some points to make it to Birmingham, and did that, and had a chance and fished for $100,000 a day. You can't beat that, and just come a little short.
Tell us about your pattern.
Well, I'm throwing a crankbait along a bluff end bank there, and that's what I was keying on, a couple of bluff end banks and a little current coming by some log jams. I just didn't get the bites today.
You talked about the importance of making this top 10, though, and collecting at least 190 points trying to get to Birmingham.
That's a big deal. I tell you what, fishing for $500,000, something else. I never dreamed, 20 some odd years ago that I'd see this happening.
Thank you, Mickey Bruce. Let's give him a huge round of applause on his way to Birmingham.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our final 4. That's a phrase we can appreciate at this time of year. Our leader, Dion Hibden. When we come back on FLW Outdoors, we'll cut our 4 down to 2. All right, 2 of the finalists that we have yet to see. Here comes our first angler, Glenn Brown out of Ocala, Florida. He's a rookie on the tour, and he just brought up an empty bag.
Glenn, what a great event you had, even though you had a tough day today. Describe your day out there in the water today.
Well, I ran to the same spot I've been fishing the whole week, and it's about 40 miles from here, and the water's been clearing up and it's been dropping, and I just couldn't get bit today. I had 2 bites. I caught 1 short, and I lost 1 fish I think was pretty good. I just didn't get bit today.
Glenn, you worked your way up from BFL, and you excelled there, moved up into Everstart, excelled there, qualified to fish in the FLW Tour. And when we leave this event today, even though you haven't won it, you will be, I believe, in 2nd place for the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to go to Beaver Lake, and I'm going to fish hard there, so we'll see what happens when we get there.
Glenn Brown, a great term for him. Let's give him a huge round of applause.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our final 3 now. Let's get our first look at our leader heading into today's battle, Dave Lefebre from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Dave Lefebre, Kellogg's Pro, and fishing in the Kellogg's boat powered by Yamaha.
And he just needs to bring up 3 pounds and 6 ounces to be able to retake the lead. 3-6.
He fishes out of the Austin Crackers boat in ever qualifying days. That should do it. 2 keepers here to put him back in the lead at 3 pounds, 14 ounces, 3:14 for Dave Lefebre. He's our new leader, and that does knock out Dion Hibden.
Dion had weighed in all 5 of his fish.
Already weighed his limit, has been eliminated. We've got video of you out there on water, and you said, man, you had a lot of fun today.
I did have a lot of fun today. Me and that camera guy, we had a great time. He was right on the ball all day long. We had a good time. We caught a lot of fish and caught some good ones, and it was just a fun day. Number 5.
We got a whole bucket full now.
You did have fun out there.
We had a lot of fun today. It was a good time. Like I say, me and Dad fished together and practiced the whole time, and just to get to spend the time with him, it was really a lot of fun. He showed me a lot that I thought I knew already, but he keeps teaching me every time I go out with him. So I'm pretty excited about just getting to fish with him a lot.
You guys really have paid the pass. I'd probably say father-son duo unparalleled. Both of you world champions, you an FLW Tour champion in a championship event, and you're still just having a lot of fun traveling with the family a lot.
You betcha. We travel together everywhere we go, me and my wife and kids and my mom and dad, and wouldn't dream of doing it any other way.
Like Mickey Bruce, again, you said making this top 10 really important at this stage of the season to get into Birmingham.
Heck yeah, I was down in the dumps. I think I was in triple digits going into this one, so I needed this. Yeah, this is going to help out a lot to go to Logan Martin. I like that pond pretty good.
You've been there before?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times. I've won a world championship there once.
So you'd love to get back again?
I would love to fish for $500,000.
And this world championship would win you $500,000 this time around.
That'd be a good bit better.
He may be there. Dion Hipton, let's give him a huge round of applause. Great job.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 3 pounds and 5 ounces separate our final 2 anglers. Our leader right now, Dave Lefebre, with a total weight of 19 pounds even. The only angler left who can catch him is Morizo Shimizu from Japan. We will crown a winner when we come back on FLW Outdoors.
I'm joined on stage now by Ann Lefebre, Dave's wife. It's been a long road for you guys, Ann.
Yes, it has. It has been a very long road. Last year was our first year on the tour, and we really learned a lot, do's and don'ts, and I don't know, it's so exciting.
He is listening and watching right now. What would you say to Dave right now?
I'd say I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. Oh.
What would it mean to him to win?
It would mean the world. He deserves it. He's worked so hard for so many years, and it's the year of the Lefebre.
Maybe your day.
I hope.
Ann Lefebre. It'll be either Dave Lefebre or Morizo Shimizu. We'll find out next, coming up on FLW Outdoors.
$500,000 given away for this tournament, and $100,000 goes to our winner, which is down to 2 finals. It will be either Dave Lefebre or Morizo Shimizu. Dave Lefebre is our leader right now, and he's with Charlie Evans.
I am with the leader of this event, Dave Lefebre. Again, only your second year along the Walmart FLW Tour, qualified, moved up from BFL, ever start, and then on the very first year, your rookie year, the Walmart FLW Tour, made a top 10 already. This is your second top 10 this year.
Yeah, this is the second one, and you know, I'm just trying to get to that Jacobs Cup, just trying to stay consistent and make that top 48 by the season's end.
Dave, you've been very consistent all week long. Tell us about your area and your pattern.
You know, I've just been, the key is confidence and just being, you know, in control of what I'm doing, and I just feel so good here. I mean, it's similar to stuff that I fish back home, but I can't really explain it. It's just pre-spawn fish and shallow fish, which is what I like to do. And you know, they say you can't keep, you know, you worry about fishing and you can't control the uncontrollable, so don't worry about them. And I just honestly did that. I was relying on my equipment and just worrying about what I had to do. And you know, you really can control some of the uncontrollables. You know, buy a Yamaha. That's all I got to say.
$100,000 at stake. Just one man between you and that $100,000.
Yeah, that one man was fishing very close to where I was, so I know what's possible in there. He weighed in 3, you know, really, really good fish, and I would not be surprised at all to see 2 more bigger than them.
Huge fish he's weighed in.
Right, so I'm definitely nervous.
A little bit nervous and a little bit excited.
Yeah, we've seen some 7-pounders out of there, and he didn't weigh one in quite 7 yet, so we'll see what he's got.
Pretty neat deal. We're having fun over in this boat. How about it over there, Carlton Wing?
All right, I'm here with Morizo Shimizu. He's in second place, trails our leader by 3 pounds and 5 ounces. Morizo, when we announced your name to this crowd, they gave you a lot of applause, a lot of smiles here.
Yeah.
You have a lot of fun this week?
Yes, I'm very happy this week.
And I had a lot of reason to be happy as well. You fished very well. We're going to look at some video of you out on the water today and tell us a little bit about what you did out on the water.
Yeah, the crankbait, I used the crankbait.
The crankbait was working for you a lot. Did you use that all week?
Yes, and tube jig. All day I use the crankbait today.
Crankbaits and tubes, and you pulled out some big fish.
Yeah! Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it feels like.
This is giant.
All right, Morozu, thanks for helping us know what it feels like to catch one of those big ones. All right, Morozu Shimizu is our challenger right now. He needs to bring up at least 3 pounds and 5 ounces to be able to take the lead away from Dave Lefebre. If he is unable to do so, Dave will be our champion. Morozu has weighed in 3 fish. Morozu, let's see what you've got remaining in your live well. He does not have any fish remaining. Our champion is Dave Lefebre. Dave, congratulations. Let me bring you up to the front of the stage here now. You've had a few moments now to let it sink in, and I know you've worked for this for a long time. You've risen through the ranks. You're an FLW champion now.
It's so, you know, you can't put it into words. I was talking to Ray Scheid this week a little bit, who won Okeechobee, and he's really cool. He's turning into a good friend of mine, and I was kind of picking his brain a little bit, like what it feels like, and you can't explain it. So if anybody ever asks me, I'll just say I can't explain it. You'll have to try it. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
All right, well, let's bring up our check right now. $100,000
Presented by Snickers.
Here is Ish Baki from Snickers with the big money.
Congratulations, Dave. Here you go.
Here is the rest of your leaderboard. In second place with $35,000, Dion Hibden. In third place, Morozu Shimizu, $20,000 richer. In fourth place, Greg Hackney and Marcel Veenstra in fifth place. Rick Clunn in sixth. Mickey Bruce in seventh place. John Murray in eighth place. The rookie Glenn Brown in ninth place. And Tracy Adams rounds out our top 10. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the best in professional fishing right here on FLW Outdoors. Don't forget, next week we will have our champion, Dave Lefebre, with our own Larry Nixon, and also 2 other of our finalists. Thanks for watching this week, everybody, on FLW Outdoors.
Veterans. Rick Clunn, Dion Hibden. These guys can all fish. And they're with Larry Nixon next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in here. He does. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. We come to you from Gallatin, Tennessee, and we have just crowned a champion on this stage. On the third stop of the FLW Tour, Larry Nixon joins us. And Larry, Old Hickory can fish tough, but you anglers always figure it out.
Well, there's a bunch of good fishermen in this tour, and they had a really good tournament. I mean, they caught some good quality fish, and they caught them different ways, and, you know, really it was a great tournament.
Were making adjustments one of the keys that you had to do to win?
Yes, it was, because the river was actually bringing clear water down. They were letting so much water out up above, and it was changing the water fluctuations, and the guys that really stayed with the water that had little vertical banks and deeper channels running close to them, they're the ones that scored.
You're going to talk to 3 of these pros. What kind of things do you want to learn?
Well, mainly I want to learn how they caught them, because I had such a bad tournament here. I want to know exactly what they was throwing and how they was fishing these little key areas, and, you know, if they was using more than one bait.
And making adjustments, always part of it.
That's right, making adjustments. And, you know, I watched them this morning, and they was working hard at it, and they didn't get frustrated when they didn't catch any fish, because they knew that sooner or later things would happen, and they did it.
Larry Nixon asks the probing questions coming up. First, a look back at Old Hickory, the third stop on the FLW Tour 2004.
Old Hickory. Day 1.
The 2 most asked questions today: is it cold enough for you, and how do you plan to fish? Only one of those answers depends on who you ask.
We're going to just fish slow and try and get a couple bites. 1 or 2 keeper bites are going to go a long ways in this tournament.
the fish are going to be moving a little bit slower, but they're still there.
You know, these fish have seen everything, so I'm trying to catch fish that haven't seen some of the lures I'm going to throw at them.
Lee Bailey has the same idea as Cochran. He's throwing a rattle trap but fishing it slow like a jig, so far without success. Lee Skipper is throwing a spinnerbait he painted red and still looking. Rookie Ron Figueroa is having better luck, fishing a jig and landing one that goes almost 5 pounds. It would be Figueroa's only fish, and there are many bags like that. Lots of pros caught him, but only 28 have hard-earned limits.
I flipped every tree, I cranked every rock I could find, and managed to catch 6 keepers today.
Jerry Williams is one short of a limit, but still manages to end the day in 12th place.
I'm fishing underwater weeds. And yeah, you actually see the dark spot. These fish were real shallow. They were like foot and a half deep.
Michigan's Marcel Veenstra has the day's biggest sack, 23.9 on a jig and crankbait, including the Snickers Big Bass that goes 7 even.
Any idea you'd have that good a day?
No, not at all. I was hoping for 13 to 15 pounds. I figured if I were consistent, I get my 5 bites each day, there was a good chance I'd make the cut.
Right behind Veenstra, Castrol Pro Darrell Robertson, rookie Glenn Brown, and Rick Clunn.
Old Hickory. Day 2.
As the anglers take off behind me, they're proving just how relative cold can be. Forecasters had been calling for temperatures in the 20s with possibly some snow today. So when they woke up this morning and found temperatures only in the 30s and partly cloudy skies, put them in a better mood. And one of the hottest anglers on tour is Pennsylvania's Dave Lefebre, protecting a top 10 showing on the first day.
I'm a little nervous about today. It's not as easy as what I thought it would be. And, you know, the fish are getting nickeled and dimed to death. There's one guy's catching one or two in each cove, and then it makes it a little tough.
Greg Hackney didn't think the fishing was tough at all. The Yamaha Pro lit up the field with an eye-popping 26.5 pounds. A career day for an angler who stood in 122nd place after day 1 and made the cut in 6th place.
It really is. I mean, you know, this is one of those things that happens every 100 years, you know. I mean, I have these days sometimes practicing or just fun fishing, you know, but to have one in a tournament like this, a big tournament like this, you know, it's just really wonderful.
Another angler in the top 10, Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre, the same who told us he was nervous at the beginning of the day.
It's pretty neat because I have confidence. I know I can almost call my shots where I'm going to get bit. It's like I've been fishing here all my life, and this is only my 2nd time. So I'm just so excited to get to the top 10 because I knew going into this, if I could get to the top 10, I had a serious shot to win. So I'm fired up.
Old Hickory. Day 3.
Day 3 proved to be the coldest morning of the tournament. The 10 finalists bundled up with a couple of extra layers and took the water with confidence, knowing they'd passed the toughest numbers game, going from 200 to 10 anglers, and now it was time to fish for the big money. The top performer out of the qualifying round was Florida's Glenn Brown. The rookie found clear water and looked to continue his domination in the final round. But no one would be able to match Lefebre. Touting a trifecta of crankbaits, the Kellogg's Pro covered all the depths and jumped to a commanding lead by day's end. At the Friday weigh-in, Lefebvre's lead stood at well over 6 pounds.
Day 4.
Championship day is the time when a leader is established and 9 challengers know what they need to do. In this case, everyone needed to catch some big bites to have a chance at Lefebre. Greg Hackney tried to recreate his magic from day 2. Morzo Shimizu caught some of the best keepers of the tournament. And Dion Hibden turned in a solid limit weighing just under 14 pounds. All noble efforts, but not near enough to topple Lefebre, who still had 3 fish to weigh when the last challenger fell.
He does not have any fish remaining. Our champion is Dave Lefebre.
Lefebre took home the $100,000 prize with Dion Hibden winning $35,000 in second. Morzo Shimizu, Greg Hackney, and Marcel Veenstra rounded out a talented top 5. Rick Clunn finished in 6th, followed by Mickey Bruce, John Murray, Glenn Brown, and Tracy Adams. Greg Hackney won the Energizer Keeps On Going award by coming back from 122nd place to make the cut, the 2nd largest comeback ever. Glenn Brown won the Shopback Clean Sweep award with the best weight of the qualifying round at 33.2. Dion Hibden won the Schick Close Shave Award as the angler who just made the final round.
Now, Larry, coming up, we'll talk with three of the top pros, Dion Hibden, Greg Hackney, and our winner, Dave Lefebre. What are you going to find out?
Well, I'm going to find out how they caught all these fish. You know, they weighed in a lot of bass, and they had some nice ones. I mean, big fish, and I want to know exactly how they did it.
Veterans and younger anglers as well. All coming up with Larry Nixon on FLW Outdoors. And welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We come to you from Gallatin, Tennessee. We have just crowned a champion, Dion Hibden, in second place. Dion, good job today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun today. I was tickled. Things came together today.
Great tournament. You know, I ran into you during practice up there in one of my favorite little sloughs, and we talked about what we thought was going on, about how tough it was and whether you really thought a guy could catch a bunch of fish, and I thought it was tough. Now, there were so many boats up there I couldn't practice, but, boy, you sure figured it out.
Well, it was tough. I mean, that's the thing. All week long, I kind of junk fished for the most part. I could catch a few on a jig and a few on a crankbait, but they changed every day. I mean, this was a real triumph for me to catch them this week. You know, so it was a treat for me to catch them.
Now, these little areas you fish, now, I know from watching the video and watching some of the guys, most of the stuff they fished had little deep water sections that kind of run along the shore. You know, there was a little bit of water there. It wasn't really flat water, what we'd call spawning water. It's more pre-spawn stuff. Now, how did you decide which lure to use and which kind of water?
Well, I think these fish were staging, basically, is what they were doing, and except when some of these bays are so flat, a lot of them are so flat, they stage on a log or on a tree, the end of a tree. I caught multiple fish off a lot of different single objects, and I think because there wasn't a point there close or a secondary point, they were actually staging on like an object.
They'd actually use it and kind of hover off the end of it, and you had to trigger them into bite.
They were out in front of that stuff so bad, but the water came up a little bit one day, and the actual second day of the tournament, I caught them dead on the bank, you know, but they were always in those little deep areas in the creek.
Right, had that good deep water access.
You had to have the deep water there.
Well, Larry, second place, still a good payday. Dion, $35,000. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Great tournament, man.
Thank you.
Your second place finisher, Stover, Missouri, Dion Hibden. Now, some of the drama from Old Hickory. Let's watch. Easing into the final day on Old Hickory with a lead of more than 6 pounds, Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre is quietly confident. And surprisingly, so is Yamaha pro Greg Hackney. He sits in 10th place after an unproductive day 3. But what gives him confidence is what he did the day before. His 26.5 pounds in qualifying stands as the event's biggest sack and served notice of what can happen in just one day. As Greg gets set for what he hopes is a big comeback, Hackney shows why he's considered one of the true students of the sport. And a single question, what's your plan today, brings him to life.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, like yesterday, I'm fishing, I fished reverse yesterday from the way I should have fished. I knew going out high, you know, how I really needed to fish, but, you know, I'm big fish oriented and always have been, and when I get on them big ones, I can't hardly do anything else. I've always been that way, you know, and I trained myself a long time ago to fish one-day tournaments. You know, you go for the win on one day, so, and it's taken me, I'm kind of a slow learner. You know, this is my 4th year doing this, and I've been in that same position. Really, every time I've made a cut, I've been in the position that I was in. You know, I've caught a great big bag and really figured those big fish out for a day. You know, and they've changed, and I haven't been able to adjust with them. But today, with the weather conditions like they are, they're working back to exactly the way they were when I caught that big bag. So now, again, I've caught myself second-guessing myself. I'm still going to start with the original game plan that I was planning on going out with this morning. And I'm going, hopefully they'll tell me. I'm going to actually do the same thing I done the second day. I'm going to kind of follow my same tracks. And when I get to a certain area, if I get bit the way I got bit the second day, I'll go back and do that again. If not, I'm going with the original game plan. But I'm just going to, this morning, I'm going to do just like I did the second day. I'm not on anything. I'm going out there to figure out what they want. Let them tell me. You know, I'm not going to, yesterday I tried to force feed them the way I wanted to fish. You know, and they didn't want to do that. You know, and that's what happens. And so today I'm going to try to be a little more versatile, and I noticed yesterday when I had those crankbait bites, my bait wasn't exactly right. They were hitting it, but you know, they weren't taking it. So I've downed on it. I have, because that's what I'm going to start doing this morning, is cranking, and I've downsized my bait a little bit. Same profile, just a little smaller and a tighter action. And more, I'm getting away from the chartreuse. I thought yesterday the water had finally cleared up a little bit, and they seem to be more shad oriented. You know, and that big stringer fish I caught,
we're feeding on brim. My partner caught 2 brim out of the pocket with those big fish. My jig looked like it was brim pattern. My crankbait was brim pattern. You know, but it seemed like when the sun's out there, more shadow in it. You know, so just gonna kind of fill it out. And but again, we brought the big stick. We're gonna swing for the fence.
That's a lot of confidence for the 10th place angler, but Hackney knows what Old Hickory can produce, and he knows he's capable of a big move.
Because I'm not scared. That's one thing I'm not.
Coming up, Lefebre assesses his chances of getting his first FLW win. Japan's Morizo Shimizu makes his presence known.
Yeah!
And Hackney works his plan when FLW Outdoors continues from Gallatin, Tennessee. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors from Gallatin, Tennessee. Taylor Carr with Larry Nixon. Larry, the fishing was difficult, but still some anglers caught fish. On day 1, Marcel Veenstra had over 23 pounds. What does that say to you?
Well, it tells me that he had a giant bag of fish, you know, and he don't have to do too good on day 2 to make that cut. So he was feeling good after day 1.
When you heard that weight and also Greg Hackney's 26 pounds on the second day, did it let you know anything about the fishery?
Well, it just let me know that Old Hickory is fine and dandy and it's full of big fish.
Yes, it is. And Marcel Veenstra fished well. He made the finals. Let's look now at day 4 with Marcel Veenstra.
I don't feel stressed at all. A little 10-boat club tournament today. Just got to catch a lot of fish today, that's all. Yesterday, the water temperature was warming up, and if the sun comes out for a while today or stays out for a while today and it warms up in the shallows, you never know what could pull up in an area that, you know, has produced big, you know, the biggest stringer of day 1, the biggest stringer of day 2. If they're going to pull up anywhere, that, you know, that would be one of the areas. When we get up around the bend here, there's going to be an area that has a little bit more warmer water, so I'm hoping that I can get a big bite early, maybe just something to put a little pressure on Dave. Yes! That's a way to go. Let's start off the day good. That's the way to start the day off. Here's a good one, start off the day, get on the right track. Right now I'm throwing half-ounce blue chrome rattle trap. Guess that's no secret to anybody in bass fishing, but it's just the best, you know, the best choice for what I'm doing. Fishing this shallow, a lot of times I like to throw a 1/4 ounce. The half-ounce seems to be making more of a disturbance in making more contact with the bottom. I think that gets them stirred up a little bit more. That fish got me pumped up. That's a good way to start the day. Big fish, big fish. Stay on there, baby. Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Oh. Oh. Please. That's what it's all about, baby. If I can get a couple more bites like that one, I can put a little pressure on Davey. There's what we're looking for. These are the ones we're looking for right here. This gets your heart pumping. Let's go. Got to keep it moving. We're on pace. We're on pace for pressure. I got it. I don't think I have this fish hooked good. It's not real big, but it's a keeper. I tell you, that shallow stuff is what you gotta. I think I gotta stick by this stuff here. They're so lethargic the way they bite. My fan club came, showed up, all of a sudden, boom, there they go. I don't think I would do anything differently, but I am curious to know if I would have just, thrown the jig at some of the wood a little bit more often, if that would have triggered a few more bigger bites, maybe. I'm not sure. I've been trying to figure this out for about the last 7, 8, 9, 10 days, and if it were that easy and you could look back all the time, you'd be a lot better fisherman, but it's not. So I got to, take what was given to me, and I felt like I did, as best that I could. So I had a good time out here. It was a great time.
Now, up next on the show, we're going to meet Greg Hackney. Larry, I know you think Greg Hackney has lots of fishing talent.
Let me tell you, them Louisiana boys, they know how to bass fish. And Greg Hackney has impressed me for about 3 years now. And every tournament he catches fish, and I'm just impressed with him.
And he is originally from Arkansas. We'll meet Greg Hackney next when FLW Outdoors returns. We're back in Gallatin, Tennessee, and Larry Nixon, the man on your left, on day 2 of this tournament was the most popular guy around because Greg Hackney weighed 26 pounds of fish. And Greg, you finished in the top 10. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, he did. He caught a whopping sack of bass. I was with him just a little bit today while he was reorganizing and getting ready to make a move. And I know the fish didn't bite for him real early because he didn't have any bass at that time, but you really made a good comeback. You caught 4 bass, and I guess you probably had great hopes of catching another big giant sack to win this thing.
Yeah, really. I covered a lot of water today and finally found me 4. It wasn't an easy day for me. I kept looking for new water, trying to find another big sack.
When you caught that real big sack of fish on day 2, I know you caught them on a jig, and you caught them on in that little old short weedy grass that was growing on them points and them flats. Would you tell me just a little bit how you was fishing it? Was you swimming it or fishing the bottom, or?
Well, actually, those fish were suspended under that stuff where it was a little thicker and blown up. Some of it was still rooted and some of it had unrooted. And actually, the patches that had unrooted were the best, where it had blown up and made a mat. And I think those fish just pulled up and hung out in that cold weather right under there.
They was going in under there probably to get it just warmer weather or just get out of that cover.
Right, and that dead grass, was a little warmer than green grass anyway, so that was the best cover in the area. There was no wood.
Now, what color jig was you fishing?
It was it's a green and orange and another green type of, it's a brim pattern.
A brim pattern.
The water had cleared up. I found those fish on black and blue, and they wouldn't bite it the first day of the tournament.
Wow. You were smart enough to switch colors, and that you felt like that really made a difference in them biting.
Well, I lost 2 there the first day, and neither one of them bit really good, and so I went back the second day with a different color, and they were eating.
I'm going to tell you what, that's a pretty smart bass fisherman right there. I'm going to tell you what, I'm impressed. All right. I told you I was impressed with him a long time ago.
Well, Greg's known as an excellent shallow water fisherman. Is that your favorite style, Greg?
Yeah, it really is. I like stuff that's thick, so thick you can't hardly get a bait through it. That's the way I like to fish.
Greg, you take home 4th place and $16,000, your first top. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It won't be his last.
No doubt. Greg Hackney, Gonzales, Louisiana. Right now, some more drama from Old Hickory. Greg Hackney's plan to repeat his day 2 stringer is in place. What he didn't talk about was his intention to stay away from one of his spots early in the day, an area that tournament leader Dave Lefebre was also fishing.
These guys are not just good fishermen, but true gentlemen. He told me last night that I could have that area, and it's just unbelievable that somebody in that position, he's still got a chance to win. He could pull out a bag like he caught on the second day and pull it out, and for him to do that, I really appreciate it.
5th place angler Marcel Veenstra told Lefebre the same thing. Gestures of true sportsmanship in the midst of intense competition.
Well, we're off. So last day of the tournament, I think I'm going to go out and pretend like I'm 15 pounds down, like I'm pulling out all the stops today. Don't want to be too comfortable, I think they're going to bite today. I'm a little bit excited, if you can't tell. But 6-pound lead, that's pretty good. So I'm starting the day off with a kicker, so to speak. So we're out of here.
His intention is to expand that 6-pound lead quickly, so he runs about 8 miles upriver, where he'd caught his biggest fish the day before. His target, an isolated beaver hut.
There's definitely a fish on that hut right now. There's no question about it. Whether he'll bite or not, it's a different story. But
Veenstra's plan is to throw a rattle trap that contacts the bottom. 25 minutes after launch, he boats the day's first keeper.
Yes. Good. That's the way to start the day off. There's a good one. Start off the day. Get on the right track.
It's 8 a.m. Lefebre is throwing a crankbait to boat docks and still looking for his first fish. A stick not visible the day before tells him the water is falling.
Got one.
The 2.5-pounder expands his lead to almost 9 pounds.
Feels good to get one in there. That first fish of the day, I mean, this is the deal, you know. This is a new crank. I broke my other crankbait, broke my old crankbait. Now I'm throwing a different one, and this fish says so much. I mean, it tells me that there's still fish here to be caught. It tells me they're gonna bite my new crankbait. I mean, boy, what an important fish this is.
By the end of the hour, Lefebre has 2 more nice keepers and a growing lead. He's going to be hard to catch. Hackney is not on the day 4 leaderboard yet, but he's following his plan and feeling confident. And fishing nearby, Morizo Shimizu puts down his jig and picks up a crankbait. The former Japanese Angler of the Year is about to find one of the day's biggest fish.
Yep. I got it. Big fish. Please. Please. Oh, big fish. Please. Got it! Yeah!
In any language, that means big fish. And that too. Shimizu is about to make a big move up the leaderboard. And so is Dion Hibden. And Greg Hackney sees his strategy pay off as they all chase Dave Lefebre when FLW Outdoors continues. Coming up next in the show, a guy who knows a thing or two about crankbaits. Rick Clunn talks about one of his favorite techniques.
Yeah, and I think Greg was using one of his crankbaits in this tournament.
Yeah, I was, and I've always considered him the master of crankbait fishing.
All right, Rick Clunn on crankbaiting. We'll also meet our winner, Dave Lefebre, when FLW Outdoors continues. And welcome back to Gallatin, Tennessee and FLW Outdoors. They're wrapping up on stage now. We've crowned a winner here. It's Dave Lefebre. We'll meet him shortly. Let's talk about proficiencies. And Larry, you're known as one of the best worm fishermen in the world. Rick Clunn is a crankbait man. He knows the crankbait.
Let me tell you, Rick Clunn never gets tired when he's cranking. That's what makes him so good. He just throws a crankbait from daylight till dark until he figures out the one that fishes right for that event.
We went to Rick Clunn's home in Ava, Missouri and got him to talk about crankbaiting. Here you go. Watch Rick Clunn and learn. Few, if any, anglers understand fish like Rick Clunn. 30-plus years as a pro, over $3 million in earnings, and every title in the sport speaks to that. And skill with crankbaits is a big part of Clunn's success.
When you go to buy a crankbait, your attention to detail needs to be as good as the fish. Otherwise, you don't even understand what you're buying. What is the most important sense in a fish? Most people don't even know this. It's a lateral line. Because the lateral line is essentially a physical ability of the fish to draw a very exact mental image. It has 2 senses that does that, vision and the lateral line. And what is important to know is that it actually draws the exact image of that. It can detect the difference between a smooth-sided bait and a bait that has these grooves in it. Why is that important? Because more and more pressure we put on the fish as anglers, and we're doing that, the more and more you better understand differences in baits and the differences those fish are detecting. I've already told you things about crankbaits that most people don't even understand. They just go in, they look at it, they like the color of it, they throw it out there and they reel it in. But more and more important again, the difference will make the difference. I'm very aware of what my competitors are doing on the water, and I'm usually trying to create something different than that. That's why the difference is important to me. The other mechanical things about a crankbait I look at is the bill. The bill really creates the second most important thing as far as generating a strike, and that is deflection. A round bill has no deflection points. It basically hits something and slides around it, so the deflection is very minimal. A coffin bill, which has 4 corners, a square bill has 2 corners. When they hit something, those corners kind of cause an edge that actually catches for a second, and then the tension of your line pops the bait off. So you create what I call a more intense deflection. That is what probably will generate the second most important thing that will generate strikes that your crankbait can do for you.
The most important feature, the motion or wobble of the crankbait. Clunn usually prefers his own Thunder Shad balsa wood baits, but he says store-bought lures can be effective too if you follow a few rules.
It doesn't matter what it says on the box, you need to see how they run. You know, you need to see, first of all, tune them, make sure they're running straight. I want it running straight because that gives me control.
Tuning is simple. If the bait's veering left, bend the eye ever so slightly to the right and the other way around.
Then I want to know what depth that bait's running. In other words, and the pull needs to be fairly long because it needs to replicate the length of your average cast. So, because that's what determines your depth, is the length of your cast.
So watch your crankbaits closely. Use a pool if you can and learn exactly how deep they run.
Not only is this a good fish catcher, crankbaits are great fish catchers, but they're a great tool to learn the bottom. Everybody thinks, well, your depth finder is what you learn the bottom with. Well, that depth finder's got a very small cone angle. With this is my depth finder. I can throw it out there 30 feet, 40 feet, all the way around the boat and learn the bottom.
Rick Clunn and his amazing crankbaits. Coming soon to another FLW Top 10 near you. Larry, one thing about Rick Clunn, whenever he talks about anything to do with fishing, people listen.
Well, you better listen to Rick Clunn. Let me tell you, you don't win 4 Bassmasters Classic without knowing what you're doing.
No, you don't. Also, Dave Lefebre, a guy you want to listen to as well. He won this event. We'll find out how he did it, and he's a hot young angler, Larry.
He really is. I was impressed with the boy today. Now, I'm going to tell you what, he can cast a lure with either hand with good accuracy.
Coming up, the man who conquered Old Hickory, Dave Lefebre. And welcome back to FLW Outdoors. Taylor Carr with Larry Nixon and our newest champion, Dave Lefebre. And Larry, he won by almost 9 pounds. Your first win, Dave. Congratulations.
He really did. I'm going to tell you what, he kicked the rears this week, Dave. You did a great job. I was on you early this morning, and you didn't catch any fish when I was around you, but I pretty much know how you caught your fish. Now, would you tell me just a little bit how quick you caught a bass after I left?
Yeah, you were idling out. You just got done bragging about how, everybody I come interview catches a big one, and I'm like, okay. But anyway, you got tired of watching me cast, and you were pulling out, and you got about maybe 100 yards away. There was a no-wake zone, and I whacked the first one, and then you got up on plane, and I whacked another one on like almost 2 consecutive
Dang,
casts.
I can't believe I did
well,
that.
That's some bad planning, Larry.
Yeah, it was pretty fast actually when they started. I had 4 fish in about a matter of a half hour.
Man, that's good. Now that little crankbait you was throwing, it was a little square bill, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a little homemade bait. It's called a laser bait out of Ohio, and it's a wide wobbling bait, kind of like a 1-, only it dives a little bit deeper, about 2.5 feet.
Now they've got 2 of them. They got a flat side and they got a kind of a round-sided one.
Right, I was throwing both. I had 3 crankbaits on hand at all times. The Lure Jensen Radar 10, which was my deeper one, and then the flat-sided one's about 4 to 5 feet, and then the wide wobbling one was about 2 to 2.5 feet. All the same color.
You're an awesome caster, you know.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to tell you what, I've been fishing a long time. These young guys got me.
How critical is that to what you do, Dave?
When I was younger, I always wanted to trick cast. I met a kid, I can't remember his name now, but Tim Lucas, I think, a guy that used to trick cast and everything. And I got excited about it, watching him do the around the ear and underneath, and knocking cigarette ashes out of people's. So I kind of got into that when I was younger a little bit, and it's maybe paying off a little bit. I can pretty much put the bait where you have to, and that's important.
You had a huge lead starting today. Did that affect the way you fished today at all?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was more nervous this morning than I've been, and it's basically because a lot of people have been saying good job, you're going to win and all this, and it wasn't over yet by no means. I mean, I was 1 bite ahead.
Well, the second-year pro from Erie, Pennsylvania gets his first win, and Larry, I guarantee, not his last.
No, it's not going to be his last. I've fished around him before, and I've watched him before, and he's a good fisherman, and he's confident.
Dave Lefebre, good job.
Thank you.
Great
Thanks
tournament,
a lot,
Dave.
Guys.
All right, back to the drama now. Let's see how Dave Lefebre did it on day 4 on Old Hickory. Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebre is still out in front by a lot, and he's starting to attract a crowd. Back at the banana boat, Marcel Veenstra's rattle trap produces a 4-pounder, and suddenly he's in second place.
Baby. That's what it's all about, baby.
Marcel doesn't know that Lefebre has almost 7 pounds in his boat.
Let's go. Got to keep it moving. We're on pace. We're on pace for pressure.
Well, it's nice to dream, and as much as we'd like to say, stick around for the exciting conclusion. This one's in the bag for Lefebre. It's now a battle for second place. Veenstra has only 1 more keeper, ends up slipping to 5th. Morizo Shimizu adds 2 more nice fish and briefly climbs to 2nd. but he ends the day short of a limit and falls to third.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that brush pile. Greg Hackney's on the other end of that line, putting together the kind of run he knew he was capable of.
Oh, yeah. I'm pumped. I'm thinking I'm fixing to pop me a... Right there.
He flips his way to an 11-pound day and jumps all the way from 10th to 4th place. Dion Hibden ends up with the day's biggest catch, his last 2 fish coming in the final hour on a crankbait.
There he is. It's a big one, boys. That's another big one.
Hibden's 13-15 moves him from 4th to 2nd place.
14.5 inches long. Look at that fish.
But from beginning to end, the tournament belongs to Lefebre. He wins at crankbaiting, and his last catch illustrates his determination. After 10 casts to the same spot, he hooks a 4-pounder, giving him 12.5 for the day, 27.5 pounds for the finals.
Look at that stud. Oh, boy. I'll tell you, that's exciting right there.
His winning margin would be 9 pounds. And even with the rest of the field so far behind him, Lefebre couldn't quite make himself believe what was about to happen.
I've never, ever felt like this before.
In only his 2nd year on the FLW Tour, Dave Lefebre is about to become a winner.
It's been fun, though.
Dave Lefebre just won this event. He's whining about not being picked for a hook set award in a previous tournament. He just won $100,000. I can't believe that.
Yeah, but that was a $1,000 Walmart gift card.
Let's see your hook set. Let's see it.
My hook set, it wasn't about, my hook set.
Sell it to me.
It's so powerful that I broke the rod, for crying out loud. A guy gets up there and he's like, "Who's your daddy?" And he wins. Look, I'm getting penalized. I'm getting penalized for acting like a professional when I catch a fish.
Dave Lefebre on the hook set controversy. Coming up, our hook set nominees for Old Hickory and an Ask a Pro question for Wesley Strader. Well, what a day in Gallatin, Tennessee. Dave Lefebre, our winner. Taylor Carr with Larry Nixon, rejoined by Carlton Wing. And Carlton, for once, a runaway this time.
This was a runaway. It was very exciting for Dave. He still had fished away, and it's always exciting for that angler when he gets to hold up more fish and hold up the big check later.
Hey, that's a great feeling when you've got it won and you still got 2 big ones in the live well.
Of course, Larry, you did that 2 years ago at Lake Wheeler. It was also.
And we agree, Dave Lefebre is an angler we're going to see a lot more of.
Oh, I think so. Dave is a really good fisherman, and he's got a good attitude. And let me tell you, he takes his time and he figures things out.
And he had a few little mind games for the rest of the pros in that field as well. When he was talking after day 3 and he had that huge lead and he said, "Hey guys, I haven't even been to my biggest spot yet."
I wondered about that, Larry. What'd you think when you heard that?
Well, sometimes that's a scary feeling. At least you know he's got more fish, but if you're behind, that's not a good feeling.
All right, guys, let's go to our Ask a Pro question now. And this week's question was very applicable for this tournament. Keith Thompson of Lubbock, Texas writes, "When should you fish creeks and when should you concentrate on the main channel?" Well, Keith, your answer comes from Fuji Pro Wesley Strader.
Keith, the general rule of thumb is early in the spring and the beginning of fall through the beginning of winter is usually a great time to fish the creeks because in the springtime, as you know, the fish, they'll be spawning and a lot of your fish will pull off the main channel into the creek to find a safe spawning place, you know, where there's out of the current and it's not going to mess their beds up too bad. Woo! In reversal, in the fall, what happens is a lot of your shad and stuff migrate in the creeks and the bass just fall. And what they're doing is they're getting stocked up for the winter time. And that's how they get their food supplies, their fat storages up where they can make it through the winter and go right through the cycle again and get back into the spring.
At each of the stops along the FLW Tour, we take some behind-the-scenes photos of what it's like on the road. Here's our Fuji Fine Pick segment for Old Hickory. Old Hickory became Cold Hickory this week in Gallatin, Tennessee. That's Rick Clunn behind the layers of Gore-Tex. There's Russ Moran buried inside the wool. Greg Hackney looked cold in the morning, but Greg was warm at the end of the day with 5 identical monsters coming out of his live well. Good for 26.5 pounds and a slot in the final round. Old Hickory provides some beautiful backdrops for fishing. Look at this majestic sunset at the end of a long day on the water. But for Dave, Ann, and Mitchell Lefebre, no sight was prettier than the $100,000 first place prize.
Castrol Rookie Report.
The Castrol Rookie Report features 2 top 10 finishers. Arizona's John Murray not only finished 8th, in the third event of his first full season on the tour, but the Phoenix native had never fished Old Hickory before. Glenn Brown moved up the rankings with his 9th place finish. With solid showings in the first 3 events of this year, Brown is in 2nd place in the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year standings, just 1 point behind Dean Rojas.
As you heard a few minutes ago, these anglers take the hook set award pretty seriously. I mean, really, Dave Lefebre wanted to win that thing. He thought he got robbed.
That's right. These pros know that not only is there some money involved, but there's a little bit of prestige on the line as well, and they're having lots of fun. Let's take a look now at our winner of the Eagle Claw Hook Set Award from the Atchafalaya Basin. Thanks for logging on to FLWOutdoors.com to select the Eagle Claw Hook Set Award. Your winner from the Atchafalaya Basin is Billy Bowen, who is now a 2-time victor. The viewers loved Bowen's rather unorthodox hook set used to land a slippery keeper on a cold and rainy day. For his effort, Eagle Claw will present Billy Bowen with a $1,000 Walmart gift card. And now here is your opportunity. You, the viewer at home, can pick this week's winner of the Eagle Claw Hook Set Award from Old Hickory. You can take part in the Eagle Claw Hook Set of the Day Award. Log on to FLWOutdoors.com between now and this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Vote for the angler you think had the best hook set. The pro with the most votes wins a $1,000 Walmart shopping card presented by Eagle Claw. Let's begin our Old Hickory hook sets with some enthusiasm from the Far East. Listen to Osaka, Japan's Morozo Shimizu as he brought home the largest fish of the day.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Dave Lefebre gets a lot of style points for his hook set. He just didn't get a fish.
Oh, man. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what.
Not to worry, Lefebre still won the tournament. Finally, listen to the sound of excitement mixed with relief as Greg Hackney lands his best of the day.
Biggin, biggin.
All right.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Log on to FLWOutdoors.com and pick your winner.
So Dave Lefebre is our first-time winner on Old Hickory, and now all the anglers focus their attention on Beaver Lake in Arkansas. Now, Larry, you fish well in a lot of places, but Beaver Lake has never been one of them.
Beaver Lake has not been good to me, you know, and I love Arkansas.
You're from
lakes.
Arkansas.
Greers Ferry and Beaver Lake, they're just alike, and I live on Greers Ferry, and I ought to go to Beaver and not even practice.
Well, if you did that, we still wouldn't count you out. Never count out Larry Nixon.
I might do better.
And I can guarantee you that Hank Parker will not count out Larry Nixon. He's already said that he's going to pick you to win every tournament for the rest of the way in 2004.
Oh, my goodness. What's happened to him?
We'll find out. Hank Parker will join us next week on FLW Outdoors. We'll join you from Beaver Lake and help preview that body of water, the Walmart Open. A lot of money on the line for the anglers in the 4th event of the 2004 regular season. Thanks for watching, everybody, this week on FLW Outdoors.
Get him. Reach out there. Good job. Whew. Good way to start the day. I sound like David Frick. Oh.
That's the way to crown a championship right there.